Hi, my name is Professor Art Goldberg. I'm an adjunct professor of English at two South Florida community colleges. I've been very fortunate that the Quality Enhancement Plan, the QEP for one institution, is creative writing. The other QEP for the other institution is critical thinking. And I've been working the last year to try to merge the pedagogy into one and try to teach critical thinking in terms of how students should approach creative writing. I've had a lot of fun. I'm happy to submit this is one of my videos to the Khan Academy, and I look forward to hearing back from you. Both critical thinking and creative writing depend on constructivism, where we put ideas together and see how they interact. How does a yellow pyramid relate to a blue circle, relate to a red star, when we put them all together and try to compare and contrast them, or to see how those ideas interact with one another? Let's talk about critical thinking for a moment. We always want to make this a two-step process. We want to make reliable assumptions based on AAA rated truth. That's our goal. We always want to be able to automatically understand the accuracy of our conclusions. And we can get there. We can do that by making certain assumptions, but an assumption is a two-part process. To make a reliable assumption, first step is induction, the second step is deduction. Let's see how that works. In order to make a reliable AAA rated conclusion, the first thing we want to do is to process our information that we have before us and make an induction. We had to take an individual piece of information and group it and assign it some meaning based on the group that it belongs to. We're going to take all the yellow pyramids and all the red stars and all the blue circles and categorize them into those groups. And what works with shapes also works with ideas. The process of induction, or grouping, or classifying, or matching similar ideas to one another is an important first step in understanding new ideas, because what we may think is a simple fact upon further reflection may not be simple at all and may be weighted with lots of underlying complications. Once we've made a classification, once we've used induction to create a group, and we want to depict that group by the large yellow pyramid here with all the individual members of that group having similar traits, being the shape of a pyramid. So what works with shapes also works with ideas. So let's make an assumption then. Let's make a deduction that all the individual items have something in common once we classify them in a group. For instance, if you have a Chevrolet and you say it's a car, therefore we can deduce with a high level of probability that our Chevrolet must have four wheels, because all cars have four wheels. Our Chevrolet must have many other similar parts to all cars. For the purpose of this discussion, let's assign a shape to a concept. Let's look at the metaphor, life is a journey. Life would be a pyramid, journey would be a star. Another familiar metaphor is life flows, and we will assign the shape of a circle to the concept flow. Basically what we want to do is start creating groups, because if we say a metaphor relationship exists, we're going to say life equals journey equals flow. They're all on the same plane. They are all equal to one another because of the nature of a metaphorical relationship where we're discussing two concepts in relationship as one concept. So the concepts are interchangeable. Once we understand the nature of the metaphorical relationship, that the concepts are interchangeable, we're going to talk about life in terms of a journey, we're going to talk about life in terms of flow, and we're going to talk about journey in terms of flow. Then all of the sub-concepts depicted here in the slide are also interchangeable. So here's our theory, that all the sub-conceptualizations that we can think of and assign to the word life, here depicted by 30 verbs that we think relate to life, that we decided, we looked at a list of verbs and picked 30 that we decide relate to life. All 30 of these verbs, because we assign them some meaning to the concept life, should also have some conceptual interaction with the concepts of journey and flow. So here's how we expand our 30 verbs to end up with 90 conceptualizations, because we're going to make a deduction that anything that we can say about life depicted by a triangle, we can also say about journey depicted by a star, and we can say through deduction. Anything that we can say about life, we can also say through deduction is going to apply to a flow depicted by the blue circle. I'm happy to report that we're going to be able to expand our metaphorical subconceptualization and add another 30 verbs. These verbs, 31 through 60, relate directly to the concept of journey. And as you can see, they're going to be able to expand our concept of journey. And then we're going to also cross-reference these 30 verbs that we relate to journey to life and to flow, as we shall see in the next slide. Continuing with the same deductive process, we're going to assume that the 31 through 40 and 41 through 50 and the 51 through 60 verbs that we've assigned to the term journey depicted by a star are going to relate to the triangle of life and the circle of flow. So these next two slides continue with the pattern. We see here 30 verbs related to the blue circle concept of flow, and we're going to add those verbs to the mix. Now we have 90 total verbs that we think all are going to relate to life, journey, flow. This slide and the next slide continue with the same pattern. We have here verbs a quick summary of what we've accomplished so far. We took life, journey, flow. We assigned 30 verbs to each category, and then we merged them through induction into one large group of life, journey, flow verbs that contains 90 subcategories that we will explore in detail in the coming slides.
So now what? We've created a large group of 90 verbs through the powers of induction, and now it's time to make some assumptions. And through our power of deduction, we're going to try to connect them for more complicated concepts. We want to test each concept against the other concepts, just like a scientist puts drops of a drug that he's testing in various test tubes. So if you look at example, life 18, journey 32, and flow 66 verbs, in the yellow space we've created a new concept. If we are blind to appearances, we face life challenges. So starting with 90 verbs, we could probably make 90 times 90 or 8100 possible connections. So that's what we want to do through the power of induction and induction.
Thank you so much for your patience and attention for this introductory presentation on the merging pedagogies of critical thinking and creative writing, how we use induction and deduction to explore the conceptualization and subconcepts and their interrelatedness of metaphor. Appreciate your opportunity to be with you and look forward to our next segment as we continue this exploration of these emerging pedagogies.